Con leche, la voz de los latinos en América. Estamos transmitiendo desde hermosa 1470 AM y también 96.9 FM. Les habla Lilia Galindo. Me acompaña el doctor Jordan Goines del Distrito Escolar de Lancaster y viene con él Alicia Casey. I will practice enough, and next time that I see you, I'm going to do it perfect. And your position, Alicia, is what?
I'm the Director of Student Equity, Access, and Outcomes.
Wow.
Longest title in the district.
Again, tell me. Equity?
Access and Outcomes. So it's Student Equity, Access, and Outcomes.
O sea, esta dirección es para darle acceso a todos los, acceso igualitario a todos los estudiantes y garantizar que tienen resultados similares. So then that means that you are going to end with the that bridge between that gap between African American students and white students, because they say that we were Hispanics and African American, we are always behind. And then you are responsible to resolve that problem. No?
All of it.
So I'm not the only one who's responsible for it. It's definitely a team effort, but our district, we do see the significance and the value of ensuring that that happens in our district. And so that's why we have the department, and I'm the director of that department.
Very good. Ella le preguntaba, entonces, usted va a ser la responsable de terminar con esa desigualdad que existe en el aprendizaje entre los estudiantes afroamericanos, hispanos y los estudiantes blancos. Dice, bueno, no es solamente mi responsabilidad, es responsabilidad de toda la escuela, pero sin duda alguna yo soy la directora de eso y le toca entonces la coordinación. Do you know, we know that there are many other factors that affect education, because, for example, it's not only the responsibility of the teachers or the staff, administration staff, but also in the community, because if you live in a place in extreme poverty, you don't have enough food, you don't have any support, emotional or anything, then you're going to have a lot more problems. It's a little more complex than we used to see the problem.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. We do need to look at it from a holistic approach. And so when we are looking at the needs of our students, we have to look at not just academics, but their social emotional, their behavioral needs. We need to look at those basic foundational needs, such as housing, food, comfort, those. And so it is definitely a community effort. We need our families, we need people in our community to just wrap their arms around our children and in order to support them so that they can be academically successful.
Bueno, estamos hablando como la educación, normalmente siempre, si los estudiantes no van bien, hacemos responsable solamente a la escuela, ¿no? Pero hay muchísimos factores que inciden en los resultados que un estudiante puede obtener. Por ejemplo, si vive en un área que es muy pobre, que hay mucho vandalismo, que no tiene suficiente dinero para comer bien, para alimentarse bien, pues va a tener una serie de problemas que los demás estudiantes no tienen. Si no tienes un lugar para estudiar o para hacer la tarea, es otra cosa. Dice, sí, nosotros nos encargamos no solamente de ver las cuestiones académicas, pero también el ambiente socioeconómico que hay alrededor, las necesidades de tipo social, de tipo de salud física y mental. Le queremos dar un enfoque totalitario, o sea, donde se incluyen todos los factores para poder analizar la situación. So it's a lot of, do you know, I was asking you that because, for example, do you count with the support of the Department of DPSS when you see a family or a teacher see a family that needs support, but they don't know how to navigate the system? Do you have somebody who can help them in that kind of things?
Yeah, so our district has really looked at the support with that and partnering with our community and others. And so we do have the Welcome and Wellness Center, and Rose Juarez is the director of that department, does an awesome job with supporting our families. And then our PSA department, we have a foster liaison And so, yes, we do work with other departments, other organizations in order to support our students.
Very good. Le preguntaba yo si había dentro de la escuela personas que tuvieran relación o que pudieran incidir, por ejemplo, cuando se requieren servicios del Departamento de Servicios Públicos, Departamento de Servicios Sociales Públicos, lo que es DPSS, para apoyar a quienes necesiten, a familias que necesiten apoyo económico para poder salir adelante. Y sí tenemos la actual directora o coordinadora del centro de bienvenida, se llama Rosa Juárez, y ella tiene ha hecho de este departamento algo muy bueno. Y también tenemos contacto con el Departamento de Servicios Sociales y también con el departamento que le da servicio a los niños foster. Do you know, we usually forget about foster children, well, because we don't mention too much foster children.
Mm.
And this is I think like we should pay more attention, and also disabled children, because they even said, I went to a meeting with disabled people, and they said it's like if we are invisible. People doesn't even say good morning or good afternoon. So make me to realize that it's so true. You even try to avoid to see them, no? When you
Yeah, and that's another thing. Our special education department, they lead with all means all, and so our students with disabilities, they are general ed students first, and so the special education portion of it is a service, and so they are really working to be inclusive and make sure that our students with disabilities and then also their families feel very supported.
Bueno, estamos hablando también, amigos, de cómo a veces no ponemos suficiente atención en los niños foster, que son niños que el Departamento de Familias y Niños separa de sus familias y los manda a vivir temporalmente con otras familias. Y que a veces no le damos suficiente atención, ni tampoco a los niños que tienen alguna deshabilidad. Le comentaba que asistí a una reunión de niños, de personas disabled, y dice, es que nosotros somos como invisibles para los demás, ni siquiera nos saludan cuando nos ven en la calle. Y es cierto, dice, pero nosotros estamos poniendo especial atención a este tipo de estudiantes. Sabemos sus limitaciones. Excuse me. Now, I want you to tell me what you want to say, because sometimes I ask things that it even doesn't have to do. Dr. Goines, please help me.
Oh,
You
no,
are so good.
I think this conversation is great, and I haven't had to say a word. That's awesome to me. So I did want to like kind of give some a huge shout out to all the people that Alicia does work with, and Miss Casey does work with, because she has she's a mighty department of one with or two. She does have an awesome secretary, Bess Philomia. So who does great work along with her. As a director, she's the department head and kind of the person who is responsible for pushing the coordination of all of the community efforts within our district, a lot of the community efforts within our district, in terms of making sure that kids are represented in specific ways. And I just wanted to make sure, like, especially with our foster population, Lancaster School District, more than just having a foster liaison, although that's a huge piece, that's a piece that we have to have. We do a lot of concerted work to focus with our foster students in terms of groups and trying to really build that particular divide and really supporting that particular student population. Same with our students with disability. I think there's a difference in which the way people have thought about that population and student in the past that is not right. We've always separated them out as we put them in a class and we say that that teacher is going to handle the situation. But that's not what we do. What we're focusing on in Lancaster is something called inclusion and making sure that those kids, or that the student who has a disability still has access to all of the core curriculum at the grade level that they're supposed to be getting it at, so that they can have the opportunities to learn along with their peers. And then on top of that, we realize and know that just like with English learners, it's so important to be and have that access to just being part of the group, because that group piece is huge, because that's where you do so much learning. It's most of the learning that happens in school, part of it happens in the classroom, most of it happens peer to peer, and the social influence is such a big deal to that. That's why we have pushed kids getting back into school away from online learning, but that's a huge piece to that, and that's one reason why we're so our goal is to be as inclusive as possible with our students with
Excellent.
disabilities.
And remember to
Disabilities.
include them also in sports and arts because
Absolutely.
they also complain, hey, what's the matter with them?
Well, so we found because I also gifted and talented education actually sits under my department, and one of the pieces that we found is we test we do a thing called universal testing, and we have many different ways in which we identify gifted students, but one of the two specific ways is through a matrix that we've compiled through evidence and research. But we also do something called universal screening, where every student at a particular grade level, it's at fourth grade, third grade is we've moved down to third grade, but every student at third grade gets tested for gifted and talented education, and then depending on score moves into a matrix, and then every student thereafter that comes in from fourth on up has a teacher can recommend, or a parent can say, hey, I want my kid tested, and then we have somebody ready to test those students for gifted and talented education. Our students with disability, we have identified more students with disability with, as we call it, double identification or dual identification. We've tested more students with disabilities and have I've been able to identify them as gifted and talented. It's been it's something that it's research says that it's absolutely going to happen, but we've proven the research to be correct. So,
Do you expect that I translate all that?
of course. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, es que estamos hablando de los niños foster y de los niños con disabilidades. Y dice que en la escuela de Lancaster, afortunadamente, han hecho un esfuerzo para que los niños no se sientan dejados afuera. Se trata de un programa de integración donde se les incluye lo más posible en todas las actividades de la escuela. Y esto hace que los niños se sientan integrados. Dice, a veces anteriormente se les ponía solamente en un salón de clases, apartados todos, y nunca tenían acceso a los otros estudiantes. Ahora se está haciendo algo diferente. Se está tratando de incluirlos en cada aspecto de la vida escolar. Así es que tienen acceso a todo, y le comentaba yo que si eso también incluye deportes y música, porque muchos se quejaban de que eso se quedaba excluido. Dice que sí, absolutamente, y que se ha demostrado que los niños que tienen necesidades especiales a veces son niños muy talentosos en otras áreas de su vida, y se les reconoce como casi genios. Vamos a un corte y regresamos. Very good.
That was fun.
Did you turn off? No.